Yeah.
So case number 6, and you
Ugh.
have an 80-year-old man with a papule on the nose, and a case that taught you a very important lesson.
Very important lesson.
Yes, very important lesson. I wonder what that might be. Uh, and and let's take a look at the H&E in this case. So we're going to do the H&E, and we're going to share with you the immunohistochemistry. Very busy. Pleomorphic spindle cell neoplasm, yes.
Yep. Ugly cells filling the dermis in old sun-damaged face skin.
Right.
Sorry for the folds. There's that case from a long time ago. I didn't have a way to make new slides, but it'll have to be good enough.
That really testifies to the authenticity.
That's
You
right.
never want to, improve on nature. Really. Yeah. So that's the, I think, histology. And let me share with you the immunohistochemistry. The tumor cells were negative for SOX10, S100, pancytokeratin, P50, P63, desmin, and CD34. And the question for you now is, what is your diagnosis? And we'll ask that question, I think, again. There are some clues to that diagnosis, maybe on the H&E, but
There are. They are subtle, though.
very
Very
subtle.
subtle.
So I give you 20 seconds on the Mentimeter.
True fans know this case. Someone has been following because I have posted this case quite a few times before, actually. I should have
No.
thought of that. I should have
Come
known that.
on, this is Dermpedia. This is the most advanced group of dermatopathologists
You guys are
on
good.
this planet.
It's awesome.
They're not students. I
Very
didn't
good.
expect anything else. Angiosarcoma is the diagnosis.
I think this is a case that
From Dermpedia
could trick anyone,
audience.
though. I'm so
And
proud of you
what you
guys.
do would you do next? And you shared the immuno
Yeah, just in
CD34.
case you didn't believe me, CD34 is negative. It is negative,
Right.
like totally negative. You can see background vessels that are positive. There's your DFSP control up there. And here, the background vessels positive, the tumor cells are completely negative for CD34.
Okay.
But
ERG,
you don't even need a microscope, right? Blazing positive
CD34.
for 31.
Sorry, CD31.
Yeah. And you can see I love to write on my slides with markers, and sometimes I forget to wipe it off. So you can always tell in my department if a case is mine. If it's got blue marker or purple marker all over the slide, it's my case.
So
Yeah,
spindle
this is
cell angiosarcoma mimicking AFX, but how popular was the diagnosis of AFX? Let's
it was
just
on there, but
It's
smaller.
on
But
there. Yeah, yeah. Because I think that lesion, actually, the H&E, those holes, those little
yes, good.
vacuoles, right?
So I think there's a few clues.
Signets.
The little vacuoles, endothelial tumors, particularly angiosarc, epithelial hemangioendothelioma, they tend to make little vacuoles sometimes. Kind of like in EHE, they're called blister cells, right? But we can see similar kind of vacuoles in angiosarcoma and sometimes in other things like epithelial hemangioma, ALHE. They make little vacuoles. They don't look like this, but they make vacuoles. So the other thing is you can see this kind of like nested area at the top. That's probably a vascular channel that has completely been filled with tumor cells. That area with the crack over at the right there, but just below the epidermis. It's kind of this long kind of serpiginous structure. That was probably a vascular channel formed by tumor that then filled up. So my partner, Jackie Junkins Hopkins, here at Geisinger, she likes to say it's that the angiosarcoma, the endothelial cells are like fish in a creek. They're like swimming and filling up the middle of the creek. And I think that's true. And sometimes they get so full that they completely overrun the center of the creek, the lumen of the spaces, and they become solid. If you have a big enough sample, these solid angiosarcomas usually will have areas of obvious vasoformation, but on a small shave, you sometimes don't get any of it. So you have to have a high index of suspicion. So the other thing is the blue-gray, kind of this slate gray blue color, amphiphilic cytoplasm. Angiosarcomas, especially the more epithelioid ones, the more cellular solid ones, they tend to get this bluish gray look to them. And in a way that you don't see as often in say, AFX or other entities. So that kind of bluish gray or amphiphilic quality. And also the cells are kind of plump and epithelioid. Can you have epithelioid atypical fibroxanthoma or pleomorphic dermal sarcoma? Sure you can. Is it common? No, not in my experience. Anytime I see something that I think is an AFX or PDS spectrum, but is pretty epithelioid, I'm always extra cautious to make sure I've excluded all the other stuff, because I've seen a variety of times where things that looked like AFX but were more epithelioid ended up being angiosarcoma, epithelioid rhabdomyosarcoma, and other stuff. And these are things that are much more aggressive. Angiosarcoma is a very aggressive malignancy, much more concerning than AFX or PDS. So if you look back on the CD31, Arthur, I think you can actually see some vasoformation. One of the stains shows it. I think it's a CD31. It just wasn't really obvious at all on the H&E. But on one of the immunostains, that deeper cut showed a little area where there's an obvious vascular channel. Let me see if I can find the area on the slide here. I think it's 31 that had it. So the lesson I learned from this case is angiosarcomas can be CD30. Yeah, look at the right there. On the right side, you can see that what looked solid as you go over to the right edge of the shave opens up, and it's a vascular lumen now, lined by multi-layered atypical endothelial cells right there. So again, maybe even just deeper H&E cuts would have made this obvious. But this was the story behind the case is it's a long time ago. A colleague, a friend of mine, sent this case to me and said, I think it's probably AFX, but something's kind of weird about it. And he had already done the CD34 and that whole panel of stains, and still was like, I still feel like it's a little weird. There's a little vasoformation at the very, very edge there, probably, or discohesion at least, So I saw it and I felt the same thing. I was like, maybe it's an AFX, but it's kind of weird. And I thought a bit about angiosarcoma, and even though 34 was negative, I added ERG and CD31, both of which were blazing positive. And so the part of the reason I was able to get this was a story shared by and said that he had mistaken angiosarcoma once and thought it was an AFX, and it was one of the biggest mistakes he had made. And I thought that was such a brave thing to like openly share that with the audience. And thank God he did, because I thought better soft tissue pathologist and dermpath than I'll ever be. And if he could make that mistake, then I sure as heck could make that mistake. And this case came in about like 6 or 8 months later. And it was because of that memory and that fear of thinking, oh my gosh, that's scary. So because of him saying he always, wants to keep that in the differential and not mistake an angiosarc that was solid as an AFX. So I started adding a vascular marker on my routine panel, which I had not done originally at the very early stage of my career. And it was, and because I knew that CD34 sometimes is negative in angiosarc, and this one worried me enough, I added the ERG and the 31 and it proved the diagnosis. So now my routine AFX PDS panel, I pretty much always include either CD31 or ERG. ERG is my go-to. Just so you know, the ERG is very sensitive, but it's not specific. It can stain AML, acute myeloid leukemia, stains prostate cancer, which of course is extremely rare in the skin, stains about 50% epithelioid sarcomas and other stuff. But it is very sensitive and super strong in angiosarc, and it should look like the case we just showed you here. Anything patchy or weak or like staining some of the cells and not other, not angiosarcoma, okay? And AFX often has some patchy ERG staining, you can just ignore that. Don't worry about it. It should look like 4+ positive, 100% of the cells, as strong as the background vessels. That's the way ERG stains vascular tumors. If you have to ask yourself, is there enough ERG here? The answer is no, probably not. It's probably not vascular if you're questioning that. Usually you just look at the slide with your naked eye and you're like, whoa, ERG is positive. So anyway, there's a great case about like the benefit of sharing mistakes we've made and challenges we've struggled with, because our trainees can learn from that. It's a great example of having awareness that angiosarc can be solid and can be spindly sometimes and can mimic other sarcomas when that happens. And usually it's on a small shave like this is when the big problem happens. Usually, again, you'll find vessels if you look around enough or get a deeper, bigger sample, but you don't always get that up front. Sometimes angiosarcs don't have any violaceous color clinically. Sometimes they don't have any blood-filled spaces microscopically. I've seen multiple cases. I've also seen Kaposi that way, where there's no blood at all. And when you don't have any blood-filled spaces, it's real easy to not think of a vascular tumor. So this whole theme of the session has been vascular tumors that look like they're not, and non-vascular tumors that look like they're vascular, right? And I think that's a good thing, is that we can get confused either way. So again, I'm a big plug for either ERG or CD31,
Yeah.
and I would recommend against using CD34 as a screening marker for vascular tumors. It's often positive in angiosarcoma. I would say even usually, but I've seen many examples now of angiosarc that were partially or completely CD34 negative. So do not trust CD34 alone for ruling out angiosarcoma, okay? My
I
AFX PDS panel personally, and everyone's got a little different view. I like to do a high molecular weight keratin. In my lab, I think CK56 works best. Some people like CK903. Some people like pan keratin. That's fine. I feel like in my lab, CK56 works better than pan. I also like to use a nuclear marker like P63 or P40. P40 is what I currently use because it's cleaner. If you don't have that and you only have P63, that's fine. I know some very good dermatopathologists that don't like P40 or P63 because it's kind of a little wishy-washy, and that's okay if you don't want to use that. And then I usually use a SOX10 as my melanocytic marker to rule out. I know some people who like to use more than one melanocyte marker. That's okay if that's what you want to do. And then I usually use a Desmond to rule out rhabdomyosarcoma, which is really rare in the skin, but it does happen, and it's very bad and aggressive when it does. And then also leiomyosarcoma, which is part of the so-called SLAM differential. But I'll tell you honestly, I don't think I've ever seen a case of actual leiomyosarcoma in the dermostat at all confused me for AFX or a spindled squame or a spindled melanoma. Leiomyosarcomas in the skin look like leiomyosarcoma, and they're usually on the trunk or maybe the extremities, not on the face of old people. At least, I don't know, Arthur, have you seen very many leiomyosarcomas on the face of older people? I think I've seen
No,
one
not
on the
really,
scalp.
but I've seen ERK positive in some areas, not diffusely positive uh, AFX. So
Oh,
and
for
I
sure.
shared I shared a few examples actually on Dermpedia in my consult session, so you can just ERG if you search, you know, you'll find I think one or two.
Yeah, it's almost
So
like a feature. Like it's more like a lot of tumors
yeah,
are cleanly negative for ERG, but AFX often has patchy staining.
yeah,
And as
can
long
be
as you know
positive,
that
sure.
patchy is okay, don't worry
And
about it.
D240 can be often positive also in squame.
That's
So
a good
one has to
point.
be always, but you know, I have to tell you, in this case, you know, my differential diagnosis would also include a hemangioendothelioma, uh,
Was it backwards? Yeah.
because there's certain kind of uniformity of, again, the cellularity, you know,
Mhm.
and I would wonder, um, you know, if that lesion could also, I mean, that's certainly in a differential diagnosis, that one of those fusion
Like an
driven.
epithelioid hemangioendothelioma.
Yeah,
Like they usually are more kind of
or
nested and cord-like, but
YAP rearranged.
oh
Uh,
yeah,
yeah, just a fusion, you know, because there's certain
yeah,
monotony. Like I usually
there
think
is.
of angiosarcomas as being very pleomorphic, more pleomorphic than this case. And so you know, just something to consider to expand the differential diagnosis in a vascular tumor that,
Yeah.
you know,
And
looks
so if you're
aggressive.
thinking about that for the audience, that would be a good time to do like an NGS fusion panel
Right,
to make sure that you look for the WWTR1
right.
CAMTA1, YAP1 TFE3, and others. And so I think that's a good thing to think of. And there is a big difference because the angiosarcomas are quite aggressive. They get really aggressive treatment and have a very guarded prognosis. I've met people that are I volunteer in an angiosarcoma patient support group on Facebook. I've been doing that for over a decade now. So I've met some long-term survivors from angiosarcoma, which is amazing. But I've also met a lot of people who died and family members of people who died quickly from angiosarcoma. It's a horrible, horrible tumor and very serious and much more serious and aggressive than most of the other things in the differential. So really important to always keep it in mind. And hemangioendotheliomas, depending on which type, are sometimes they can metastasize the epithelioid one, but the other ones are more like locally aggressive, not as often metastasizing. So they are not as aggressive of a disease as angiosarcoma. So important to make that distinction. Great point.
I think we exhausted our time. Uh, you know, we kind of exceeded this hour, but as you know, we're not really on any time schedule during the
Everyone who
workshops.
watches any of my videos knows that I always go over time on everything. So they're probably used to this.
Yeah. Okay, so you know, thank you very much. Let's see if there are any, you know, final questions on chat. If
Someone asked about, can PRAME become positive in pleomorphic dermal sarcoma? I don't know. I don't usually use PRAME unless I'm trying to figure out if something's melanoma versus nevus. So I've not really applied it. I know that like dedifferentiated melanomas, which are rare but do happen, they usually are diffusely PRAME positive. And so that is a question that comes up, but I've not tried PRAME on enough cases of like AFX PDS to know like how reliably negative. I think there was a paper last year by Jason Hornick and colleagues from Brigham and Women's about using PRAME on D-diff melanomas. And they did, I think, look at some AFX and pleomorphic dermal sarcoma, but I've been a little hesitant to include it in my panel because I just don't have enough experience to know like what will I do if I've got some patchy PRAME positive or even diffuse positive and everything else melanocytic is dead negative. Because raising like, oh, this is AFX PDS, but maybe could be D. diff melanoma. I mean, like it's a pretty big difference you're bringing up there. And so I've been a little hesitant about that, but I think that's a great question.
Yeah.
And I don't know. Do you use PRAME in your panel of
No,
AFX?
but any time there's a possibility that the lesion could be melanoma, I think a lot of effort has to be spent
Yeah,
to confirm that. And probably now the best way to go about it is just to do NGS, look for
yeah.
melanoma, signatures because of the treatment. If it's melanoma now, melanoma is a good news. Yeah,
They got
paradoxically,
options, right? Yeah.
it's a good news because there are good treatment options. So, Jared, thank you so much. Thank you
You are fun.
for
It's really
for
great.
doing this, workshop and
It was
really
fun.
showing
And thank you
your
everyone for showing up. This was really, really great.
incredible ability to describe things. You use at least 10 times more words that I can really come up with for
I have
a
probably
single
spoken
case.
several
But
lifetimes
you but
worth
you
of
use
words
them
already.
very well. It's
Thank
it's
you.
it's it's fun to
I've
watch.
been talking a lot since I was a little child, and I've never stopped
Yes,
since. So it's just
yes,
the way I
yes, and
am.
you found a niche that allows that and actually creates an audience of people who are very grateful for your efforts.
Thank you.
And so am I, and so is the audience of today's workshop.
Awesome. My
I
pleasure.
hope
This was
to,
really fun.
see more of you. And actually, guys, there are those little hearts that you can see. Just if you like this idea, how about putting Gerald on my short list of folks who could take over Dermpedia when I retire? How about that? Is it a good idea? Look at the hearts.
Not hard.
Yes.
Thank
Okay.
you.
He
Very
is on the
kind,
short
everyone.
list. So, okay, folks. Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Have a great day, everyone.
Bye.